got Marty Latman with us. He's going to talk about networking remotely in today's changing world. Marty's a CPA, CFO, consultant, coach, co-chair of the FENG. He mentors company executives. He's a matchmaker or people helper. And I think I was told not to do too much because it has got to fit through the door. So I've been told good things about this presentation, so I'm hopeful. But thank you, Marty, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Jim, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. What I'm going to talk about tonight is really networking remotely in today's changing world. You know, COVID's been here now, for about 2 years. We're operating under Zoom. In December 2018, how many of you have heard the word Zoom? And how did you equate it to a software platform? But anyway, that's where we are. That's how changes have been made. What I will talk about today is the following. Ways to find a position today, how you structure your day, things to plan your search. We'll talk about networking remotely. We'll also talk about video interviewing preparation, because that's one of the keys to find your position. I'll give you some websites to take a look at where they have jobs of different types, and then we'll just wrap it up. So this is what we have. Today's environment, it's different, but it's not different. It's always the same. When you really come down to it, there are 4 ways to find a job. That's networking, networking, networking is number 1. Most of job leads today are found through networking. 45 to 95% of the job leads come through networking. When people talk about the hidden marketplace, you find those hidden jobs through networking. There's recruiters. You have to use them. Success with recruiters run anywhere from 2 to 3% of the jobs that are out there, really. But when you choose a recruiter, you have to choose recruiters carefully. Number 1, you have to have good chemistry with them. But also what you have to know is that you want to know the recruiter if they deal in your industry or in your profession. You could have a real good recruiter who might be in financial services. They have financial services jobs. But if your background is manufacturing and you're looking for a manufacturing position, that recruiter will not have positions in manufacturing. So in your mind, after a while, you say he or she is not a good recruiter. Recruiters work in different segments like we do. And when you choose a recruiter, choose one who deals in your industry or your profession, and you have a good chemistry with them. If there's any change in the job market today and how you find a position, it's social media. LinkedIn, the job boards, ZipRecruiter, Monster, Indeed, Twitter, Facebook, even Instagram. That's where the number of the jobs are today. How recruiters find you today? LinkedIn. I came across this statistic about a month ago. There's 1.9 million recruiters on LinkedIn. And what they are doing, they are looking at your profile. Now, recruiters on LinkedIn, they have a separate package. There's 2 packages for recruiters. One is called LinkedIn Recruiters, and the other one is LinkedIn Recruiters Lite. The regular LinkedIn Recruiter is very powerful. In search engines, it looks at any little thing that you might have on your profile. They could find your college. If they, if the company wants someone who's just graduated from the Ivy League, they could go through LinkedIn with LinkedIn Recruiter and find those individuals who have gone to all Ivy League schools. So it's very powerful. They slice it and dice it, and that's how they find you on LinkedIn. And then the fourth way to find a position is direct mail. Okay. This direct mail, this technique is not used that often, which is, it's a blessing, so to speak, for those who do it. Because what you do is that you do research on your target companies. And then what you can do is send a letter. I generally call it a one-page letter to the heads of these organizations of your target companies. It's generally about a 4-paragraph letter. First paragraph, you introduce yourself. If you want to look at it, it's like your profile summary on your resume. Then based upon the research that you do, in the second paragraph, you could ask 3 or maybe 4 questions related to your research. Hopefully get an answer. Let's say that you structure it so that there will be 1 no answer. And your 4th paragraph would be, if the answer to any of the above questions is no, maybe we should have a discussion because I could help you turn it into a yes. And then you set it up where you could possibly have a meeting with them. Direct mail letters, it's your success is based upon how you craft it, and especially your target companies on who you send it to. All right. Direct mail letters, I strongly suggest you do not include a resume. If you include a resume in a target letter, it's going to go right down to HR, and you want to avoid HR. Okay. So these are the 4 ways. These are the main 4 ways to find a job today. There are other ways that you can find a job through temporary work or contract work. Fractional CFL work is one. You could do regular temporary work. Then there's also volunteering. If you volunteer to help someone, you get to know the company, they get to know you. Okay. There's no real gatekeepers when you volunteer. It's an opportunity for you to show your stuff and how good you are. So that's another way to find a job. These are mainly the 6 ways to find it. The emphasis would be in the top 4, and from my opinion, the top 1 is networking. Now, if we look at it, how do you structure your day? Let me just preface everything by telling those here who are in between successes, as I call it, you will land. Everybody lands. And right now, everyone at this session has a job. You all have jobs. For those who are in between successes, your job is to find the next success. And in doing it, you have to run it as if you are working in a regular job paying position. So to do that, you really have to structure your day. And in doing it, you have normal hours that you work. And get into a routine, 35 to 40 hours at least in job search. Okay. It's a regular job. That's what you have to do. If you're working at home during this period, find a dedicated space to work and make sure there's proper lighting. You have your phone, you have your computer, you have all the tools that you need as if you were in your office in that job paying position. What you want to do is tell members of your family, if they are living with you, that you have a job. And during these hours, you are not to be disturbed. Okay. Let them know. It's not like, I'm here. Oh, you want me to do this? You want me to do that? Don't be distracted. Your focus is to find that next success, and it's a job, and you have to work on it. So keep that in mind. Also, what you want to discuss is make sure that you have the internet connectivity. Okay. If members of your family are home and they are using the internet also, especially if they're playing games on it, watching movies, etc., it could drain your internet connectivity. And you have to be aware of that. And especially if you have interviews scheduled, make members of your family know that you will have an interview, not to disturb you and not to use their computer. If you have, let's say, your interview is going to be via the computer. Okay. You want to have as strong connectivity as you possibly can. Watch for the drain. Okay. And also what happens if you are structuring your day and you're working from home, you have to address your child care, pets, and elder care needs, and fit them into your schedule on how you're working. Don't let it be a distraction. Stay organized. That's one of the keys to start finding your next position. Now, to plan your remote search, these are some of the things that you might want to do. Determine in your mind, and you could write it down, the job that you really want. Think about it. Sometimes when you become temporarily in transition, it's a really good opportunity of reflection and thinking about what you want to do. I mean, when you really look at it, generally what's happened is that the profession we are in, we chose it when we were maybe junior in high school, maybe a senior in high school. We decided this is a college we wanted to go to because the college specialized in this type of work. Or if you didn't know when you started college, definitely by your second year in college, you were asked to declare your major. And it was, let's say, finance. And how old were you at that time? Maybe 20, 21. Okay. Over the years, things may have changed. You might find that, you want to do different things in accounting. You might want to leave accounting even. You might want to do based upon different experiences that you had in your career. You might look for different positions. You might look for different locations to work. You want to consider your commute today. Life balance is one thing that's a big factor today. They talk about the great resignation going on at the moment. People mainly, what I've found is that a lot of people right now are questioning what they want to do. Older individuals are looking at it and saying, well, they've been through this, they've done that. They're more selective now of what they want to do. The younger people are more demanding as to social responsibility of companies, and they're looking at things a bit differently than we used to do. In addition, because of the COVID pandemic, okay, and the shift of positions of businesses to remote processing, it has opened up a whole new world for us as to where to find positions. It used to be that your position was generally regional, close to home. You really, maybe you'd commute an hour at most. Today, you could be working, you could be living in Atlanta, and you could be working for a company that's out on the West Coast or even Canada. You could do it all remotely today. So as a result of that, that can open up your sphere of opportunities to look at different positions that may not be local positions, but it could be remote. So think about that. Then look at what companies are hiring today, and you could go to library or someplace like up here in New Jersey. If you have a library card, you could access this database, Reference Solutions, right from home. But if not, go to library, speak to the reference librarian. And you want to get to this Reference Solutions database. It used to be called Reference USA. Then this past year, it was purchased by Data Axle. You look up Data Axle, you can find Reference Solution. Here in New Jersey, if you have access, it's free access. What Reference Solutions database is, it's really 3 databases. It lists, its main database has all the companies in the United States. And what it does, it has all this information about companies. It has the name of the company, where their main address is, okay? Their email addresses of their main executives. It'll tell you their revenue for the last year or so. It'll tell you the number of employees they have, okay? It will also have the SIC code, which is really important. With the SIC code, you could find companies in certain types of industries that you're looking for. That's one of the databases. Then they also have another database that lists those companies that they have in the main database, the jobs that they currently have published out there. So you could go from one database to the next with their search engine and find these companies that might be your target companies if they currently have jobs open, the published jobs. And the other database that's hooked on to it is the database of the executives at the organization. And it has their email address and some more contact information. So you could use that to network into these companies, to talk to different people if they know people, some of these executives, and that's what you want to do. So it's Reference Solutions. It used to be called Reference USA. This is where you could also find, as I say, companies that are hiring today. You could find companies that are hiring on LinkedIn, LinkedIn Jobs, Indeed. Okay, even some companies still advertise in the newspapers. You want to find leads, you can have the FENG newsletter still has leads. You could find leads by talking to different people. And that's what you want to look for, obviously. In doing it, what you want to do is also find what I call people of influence, the POIs. These are the decision makers. These are the people who could make things happen. These are the people who could open doors for you. All right. In looking for positions, there are 6 types of people that you should have in your network. And these are the POIs. And these 6 people are as follows. Accounting firms, people at the accounting firms, law firms, bankers, commercial real estate companies, commercial insurance companies, and technology companies. Those are the 6. And the reason I pick out those 6, those are the 6 individuals who deal with people in the C-suite. They know what's going on within an organization. Okay. Bankers, obviously, and because they're lending money. Okay. They're working with companies. Lawyers, they know what's going on legally, what's happening in an organization. They're talking to the executives, etc. Commercial realtors, companies may be looking for some new space. They might be expanding, or they may be cutting down on certain locations. They might be collapsing different areas. They may be moving to another location. Those are the commercial real estate people. Commercial insurance people, they deal with the C-suite and commercial coverage. Okay, the different product coverage that they have, D&O insurance, etc. And then finally, technology. The technology companies, they're into companies to help them out in, making them more efficient, more effective. And they are talking to the leaders of the organization as they install new systems. And what you want to do, you want to connect with these POIs, and you want to speak to people who can connect you to these POIs. Okay. And you want to look and say, well, how can I connect to these people? Is it through networking? Is it through letters, introductions, networking meetings? How do I reach these people? And that's what you want to do. If you are asking people to help you, okay, you want to be clear in what your ask is. You want to ask people to help you in things they are capable of helping you with. And what I mean by that, you're not going to tell someone, well, look, I'm in transition right now. I'm looking for a job. Help me find a job. Most likely, they're not going to have a position for you. But if you ask them something they could do, such as, Joe, I've been looking at your connections through LinkedIn, and I see you're connected with John Smith over at ABC Company. I'd like to find out more things about ABC Company. How well do you know John? Could you possibly connect me to John? That's an easy ask. Okay, Joe could help you with that. It's a win-win situation. Okay, Joe helps you. He feels pretty good that he helps you. And you win because you get to talk to John. So make sure you know what your ask is. Not like, I have a lot of people who called me over the years and they said, well, do me a favor, I know you connected with a lot of people. Could you help me find the job? And then, well, what type of position you're looking for? Any position. Well, what type of company? Who's your target company? Any company right now. I'm looking for a position. Well, for those people, I have always found them a position. And I just tell them that down the block, if they go to McDonald's or Burger King, there's positions available. To which they tell me, well, that's not really what I'm looking for. To which my retort to them is, I just asked you, and you told me any job, any position. You have to be specific in what you want help for and what you're looking for. So keep that in mind. Things you need to do today to get the perfect job. You got to have a positive attitude, number one. Look, it's what I call ABP. Always be positive and always be prepared. Negative and depressed people do not get hired. How many of you have hired negative people in your career? How many of you want to be around negative, depressed people? You don't want to do that. And you always have to be prepared because opportunities could happen at any time. So you have to have your documents and your ducks in order, so to speak, that if that opportunity presents itself, you have to be able to jump on it really quickly. You want to have a strategy. And what I mean by that, you want to know the position that you're looking for. You want to say, well, I'm over here at point A and I want to get to point C. Now, how do I get from A to C? When Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz landed in Oz, her main objective was to get back home to Kansas. And the strategy to get to Kansas was to go see the wizard. And to go see the wizard, the strategy was to follow the yellow brick road. So the question I have for you, what's your yellow brick road? Do you know where you're going? Or you're just meandering in different areas? You have to have networks. You have to have people in your network. There are personal networks, your friends, your families, etc. Okay. You also have your business network, people that you've worked with before, people who you recently worked with, even people who you worked with 20, 30 years ago. Okay. You might say, well, I haven't spoken to that person in 20 years. How am I supposed to connect with them? Real simple. Okay. You could write them an email or you give them a call and basically tell them, you know, it's been a long time since we last spoke. I was thinking about you the other day, and I'm really curious as to what's going on in your career. How about a conversation? It's as easy as that. And then you have networks that are combined. It has some of your personal friends are into your business network, and some of your business network colleagues become friends of yours. So you want to work through your networks. In doing this, communication is really critical, okay? What you want to do is tell people, okay, guide them to help you. Tell them what you're looking to do and ask them if they could help you in ways that they can to help you get to where you want to go. You want to make it a win-win situation. And what you have to realize is that now that you are in transition, you are on stage every moment you are out there, every time. And as a result of it, you want to dress for success. Dress the part, okay? Look professional, okay? Dress accordingly. And that's at any time, but when you're going for interviews, obviously, but even, if you go into the store, you meet people all the time. There's always opportunities. I landed a CFO position through the woman who cut my hair. That's how I was able to get one position. Okay. You want to have a good elevator pitch. That's your marketing message. And you want to have an elevator pitch that really tells the story in a short amount of time as to who you are, what you're looking for, okay, and the value you present. Those are the three things. We'll talk about that shortly. You want to have a marketing plan, which would be your list of target companies. You need to have a powerful resume. How many pages it is, it's up to you. Okay. No more than 3 pages, I suggest. Generally, the common resume is 2 pages. You could have a 1 page. You could have a 3 page. It's okay. But the key on your resumes, and I use that plural, every resume you have should be tailored to the job specs. Okay, that means you are changing your resume every time you're entering another position. If you are using certain words to do different things that are shown on the job specs, and in the job specs, they use different words, but it's really the same. Change your resume to show the words that they use on the job spec. That alerts the reader that, hey, this person does exactly what I want them to do. So use their language. And you want to have a powerful LinkedIn profile. That includes a professional picture from the shoulders up. You want to have a good background, a good banner. You want to have a lot of good information in your LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile you might want to look at is the kitchen sink. That has most information more than what's on your resumes. Because what generally happens is that when a company gets your resume, the first thing they do is go to your LinkedIn profile. Okay. And on your LinkedIn profile, I strongly suggest you get a lot of recommendations. A lot of recommendations. Because the recommendations really is what companies want to look at. And if they see a lot of people singing your praises, they're going to say, this person's really solid. I want to talk to this person. You want to have a
Marty,
present. Yeah, go ahead.
how important is it to have activity on the LinkedIn profile? Like commenting or sharing posts and stuff like that.
Well, you just hit into what I'm talking now.
Yeah. Okay.
Recognize social media presence. It's really important. Okay. It's really important for people to see and get to notice who you are. Now, in your threads that come through, especially on LinkedIn, currently you have two choices. You can make a comment or you could do a like. What happens when you do a like? Your little picture shows up next to the comment. And generally, I think there's like 6 pictures that appear next to a comment. And if you're the 7th person, your picture doesn't show up. Whereas if you do a comment, your comment will always be out there. So if you read an article and you like it, make a comment. That was a real interesting article. Instead of clicking like, okay, make a comment. At the same time, post certain things out there. You could post somebody else's article, but you want to get your name out there on social media. Okay. The more you do it, the more people will notice you. I did an experiment once. What I did is that I posted another item that I always quote. It's my ABC. And I talked about it. I said, ABC, always be connecting and connected. Stay connected to people in your network on at least an annual basis and reach out to new people every day. It was simple like that. After the first hour, I had about 300 people commented. By day 2, I had 9,000 people comment. That's a lot. And I didn't say much. Okay. Once you get your name out there, people started contacting you. And that's what you want. So, David, it's really, really important in my mind to have a presence on social media.
Could you say more? Could you say more about, like, so you got 9,000 contacts. I mean, just by you writing posts, or you like commenting on other people's posts, or reaching out to them, sending messages, or exactly what were you doing?
I just posted just what I told you.
Mhm.
And then people started commenting on that. Certain people that I noticed who would come commenting on what I posted, I wrote back to them. You know, I really appreciate your comment. Let's have a conversation.
Mhm.
And one thing led to the next.
Mhm.
So it's really important to get involved in. The power, when you think about it, on how many people are on, especially LinkedIn today, and how easily you could get your name circulated out there and people get to see who you are and then started looking at your background. It doesn't take much. And all of a sudden people started looking at you as an expert. So that's how I would approach it. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
These are
Thanks.
the other things that you need. You need to have your references available. Don't give them out to the end, but you want to have your recommendations. That's going to be on your LinkedIn profile. You want to have templates of a cover letter and a thank you letter, and you could fill in the blanks based upon, you know, the position you're applying for. And if you've had an interview or met people, you know, the thank you notes you want to send. Put them in template type format, and then you could just, you know, tailor them to the actual discussion or the actual position that you're looking for. Your elevator pitch, which is extremely important today. Your elevator pitch is your marketing pitch, and what it will do, it should have what I call 4 C's and 3 W's. Your elevator pitch should not be more than 90 seconds at the most. I recommend that you should have 6 elevator pitches, 2 sets. Each set is of 3 elevator pitches. And the 3 in each set, one is a 15-second, one is a 30-second, and the other one is a 60 to 90-second pitch. So you have 2 sets, 3 in each set. Each set is made up of a 15-second, 30-second, 60 to 90-second pitch. The different sets, one set is geared towards people in your profession or your industry. We're in finance. You could talk the language in that one group. You could talk about things we do. If you're in the SEC world, if you do public, you could talk about 10Ks, 10Qs, S1s, S8s. Okay. You could talk in, you know, IFRS. We could talk about different things, accounting language, which accountants will understand. The other set is for the general public. And that's for people who are not in our profession. And you have to use language what they will understand. So do not use technical language, use generalized language so they understand what you do. The 4 C's, it has to be a clear message, what you want to talk about. You want to make it consistent, meaning you're going to say it over and over and over and over again. Not necessarily the same words, but the same concepts, okay? So you could change some of the words along the way, so it doesn't sound like you memorized it, but it has to be consistent, the same type of message you want to get across. You want to make it concise, no more than 90 seconds, and you want to make it compelling. You want to make it interesting, okay, how you say it. That's the 4 C's. The 3 W's, who you are, what you do, and why the listener needs you. That's your value. Now, what you do is not your title. It's the role you play. Because certain places have the same titles, but the responsibilities are different. Okay. So you want to say what your role is, not your title. And this is the most important part, your value. It's the value that you have created in your past history for different companies, not the value that you made for yourself, but the value that you did for the organization. Because companies look for people who will add value to their organization. That's the tipping point, or one of the tipping points when you are interviewed. You want to say, my name is Marty Latman. Okay. What I do, I'm a professional who helps companies in changing their procedures so they will have more effective and efficient operations that will increase their profitability. I'm a financial business partner. I'm a problem solver. Okay. What I do is that I help companies become more profitable. And in the past, what I have done by managing cash, I have enabled the company to decrease their interest expense by $2 million over a year, which then they use to purchase more capital equipment, which helped them become more efficient, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You could add to it your business environment. I work for a not-for-profit. I'm in the not-for-profit sector. I'm in the public sector, private, etc. Okay. You might want to say, you're a CPA or you're CISA, you're a CFA, etc. You could throw in your credentials if you want, depending upon how much time you have, as long as within 90 seconds. Okay. And remember this, when you talk your elevator pitches, it is not about you. It's always about the other person and how you solve problems for the other people. It's not bragging. It's not about you. It's always about them, on how you have helped other organizations. Okay. Because the value that you created for other companies, the listener is hearing that and saying to themselves, boy, Marty created value for these companies. He probably could create further value for my company. It could be even things I'm not even thinking about. And it puts you in a different situation. Okay. And what you want to do, you could add to it by using third-party verification or validation, so to speak, to help people believe what you're doing. For instance, okay, my situation, when I talk about my my career coaching, I'm Marty Latman. What I do is that I help people find the positions that they are looking for. I help them in developing the techniques that they need. I support them, I train them, and I help them find those positions that they really want. Over my career, I have helped over 1,300 people find the positions that they wanted. These are the 1,300 people who have told me about it. There are more who haven't. I'm Marty Latman. Okay. So you're just adding some validation in what you're saying by using third-party validation. And what you want to do is, as you go through this, your elevator pitch, you want to indicate, well, would you like to have a discussion to find out how I can help you? You want to try to always get to the next step. And if you add that into your pitch, it becomes very powerful. How do you construct the pitch? It's really easy. What you want to do is say who you are and, who do you help or you serve? What can you do for the listener? What results can the listener expect by working with you? Okay. How do you or others substantiate your value? Third-party validation. And what you want to do in your pitch, as I say, you want to make it conversational. Don't do it robotically. Don't do it by memory. Make it easy, sound easy, and make it a conversation. To do that, you could write down your pitch first, okay? Think about what you've done in the past and write down your major accomplishments. Just jot them down. Jot down 4 or 5 of them, okay? And then think about them, about your skills, and you can bullet your skills. This is part of your core competencies that you would have on your resume. And then what you do, take a look at your accomplishments, take a look at your skills, and then write what I consider my par Vs. My par Vs are this. You could talk about a problem that existed in a company that you were at, and the action that you took relating to the problem, and the result that you achieved from the action that you took to the problem, and the value of the result to the companies, the value to the company of the result you achieved through the action that you took to the problem that existed. Okay, this is my par Vs. Now you could interchange these. You could start off with a value that you help the company save X dollars by doing this, this, and this because the problem existed. Or you could start with an action to a problem, etc. You can mix the way this is going to sound, but this is generally how you want to create it. Okay. And what you want to do is develop a theme that you want to project to other people. I'm a problem solver. I turn around organizations. I'm a turnaround person. Okay. I narrow your story so it's brief. I mean, if you have 10 of these pars, you could interchange them based upon the people you were talking with. So one day you could use one par, next day you could use another par. Okay. But, don't overload your pitch with all this detail that's irrelevant. Okay. Keep it at a high level, keep it short and sweet, but keep it conversational. And then what you want to do, you refine it and refine it and refine it, and you practice it and practice it. And generally what you will find, if you write this all down and you'll start generally with your 90-second pitch. And as you work on it, you'll then cut it down to around 60 seconds or 30 seconds. And then you can refine it even further to get to 15 seconds. And that's how you do it. Okay. The pitch considerations. Each pitch is geared to the audience. So you have to understand who your audience is. Okay. If they're in your industry, use the language in your industry. If they're not, use general terms. Okay. What you want to convey during your pitch is, number one, you want people to like you. Okay. That's what you want to do, likability. People work with people they like. You want to also create confidence in the listener that you could really get the job done. Okay. And they want to believe in you. Okay. And they want to feel that if they work with you, they will benefit from you. They will get value from working with you. And that's the key, what you want to do in your pitches. Okay. You want to tell a story so that they could really relate to what, their issues are and what their needs are. Okay. Make it easy, relax in your delivery. Okay. When it comes to online networking, okay, what you want to do is start with the people close to you. Start local, like over here. You know, we have a bunch of people here that are in, you know, Charleston, but also if you notice, Jane, I think, is still with us here. Jane is from Florida. Okay. Lubin is from Charlotte, right? That's where my son lives. So your neighbors, so to speak. Okay. You want to make a personal connection with people. Find something in common. When I look at people's LinkedIn profile, yes, I look at what their history is. I look what they've done. I look what companies they work for. But one of the things that I key on is two things. Two of the things I key on. One is what college they've gone to and see if I've gone there. And then I could have a conversation. And the other thing that I look at is what they are interested in. Because if I find something that they're interested in, that I'm also interested in, and we started talking about that, that's a common bond. And when you started having a common bond, the conversation becomes very easy and comfortable, and people get to like each other. So you want to find that personal connection. Okay. You want to have a clear message. Okay.
Marty, so when you say you find something that you know, something in common, I mean, how do you do that? I mean, do you look for likes? I mean, on your resume, do you just have either interest or likes? Or
I'll give you a situation, and this was during an interview. Okay. I was interviewed for a position for a company that they manufactured pigments. It's a family-owned company, and I was told by certain people that the president of the company was really what they call a hard ass. Okay. He was an individual, strictly business. Okay. And I did some research on the guy, and I found out that, you know, he was really driven, and that, you know, he's one who would really, on people who he would talk to, he would hit him in the eye with questions. Okay. So I prepared myself. So I went in for the interview with him. It was a physical interview. Went into his office, and I made sure I knew it was his office because his name was on the door. So that's helped. Okay. And we sit down to have the interview. And during the interview, I mean, he's hitting me with questions. Well, what do you think? How would you handle this? And what about this? And what, you know, I was getting out of breath just trying to answer his questions. And I'm looking around the office, and I see on his credenza, in a glass case, there's a New York Jet football helmet autographed. And I saw the autograph. I knew who it was. And the guy asked me a question. And I said to him, Don, I'll answer that question in a moment, but I first have a question for you. And I pointed over there to the helmet. I said, is that Joe Namath's football helmet? And Don says to me, yeah, are you a Jet fan? Oh yeah, I'm a big Jet fan. I love the Jets. I used to have season tickets, blah, 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 blah. Okay. For the next 45 minutes, we spoke about the Jets. We didn't say a thing about the job. I got hired. That's what I mean by finding something personal, something common that you could bring down and have a real conversation on. Other things you could look at, you know, if you're looking just on LinkedIn and talking to them, you know, you could indicate, I looked at your LinkedIn profile and I see you went to, University of North Carolina. Okay. Tell me, how did you, pick that college? How did you pick that university? What did you find that was interesting over there? Okay. My brother went to that college, blah, 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 blah. Okay. It's as simple as that. Okay. Answer the question.
Yeah, I did. Thanks.
Okay. What you want to do in your networking, let it be natural, as I call it. It's conversation. Your interviews, when you have your interviews, they are not interrogations. They are conversations. Just think about this. If the interviewing company did not think that you could do the job, would they have invited you in? Obviously not. They invite people in who they believe could do the job. What they want to find out, okay, will you fit into the company culture? And they want to have these conversations with you. They want to see if you could represent them when they're not around. Okay. You want to show that you're confident in what you talk about, in your tone and in your passion. Okay. Be specific why you are reaching out to these people. Once again, it comes back to what I talked about before. Know what your ask is going to be. Okay. And then what you want to do, ask for another meeting, either virtual or in person. I'd really like to, continue this conversation. Could we have a meeting next week, tomorrow, whatever? Always advance the ball. Okay. And what you want to do, increasing your online presence, well, use LinkedIn. Okay. Connect to, your coworkers, your classmates, your former coworkers, your friends, your family, people of influence. In LinkedIn, the magic number to start with, when you really start reaping the benefits, is when you have 500 or more level 1 connections. It's not difficult to do that when you start looking how many people you have. I mean, on this call right now, I think we have about 10 people. If you're not all connected, you should get connected. What I do is that on my LinkedIn profile, I have over 14,000 level 1 connections. And what I do is that on my connections, I'm generally connected with my people at least once a year, at least 90% of the people in my LinkedIn profile. I communicate with them at least once a year. Okay. And that helps me help people who work with me to open doors for them. Okay. In LinkedIn, what you could do today, they have LinkedIn groups, and you could join up to 100 LinkedIn groups. And LinkedIn groups, they have specialized groups in finance. You can look at that. And if you are a member of the LinkedIn group, you have access to the members in that group. And you're there with a common interest. And that could open up doors. You want to join Twitter, Facebook, Meetup, Instagram, especially Meetup. Meetup could be both social and business. So take advantage of it. It could lead to a lot of things. On Twitter, there's a lot of jobs coming through on Twitter. You don't have to tweet. You could just follow, the thread and look for the different positions. Okay. Join Yelp. Okay. You could use, Google Hangout, Clubhouse, BNI. This is the Virtual Networking International Community. You got the Lunch Club. These are certain places where you could get to meet more people. Okay. You want to get onto those online chats, comment on the online posts instead of just doing you like. Doesn't take you long. And what you might want to do yourself a Google search and search and say, when are most people on LinkedIn? And you'll see that most people review LinkedIn postings on Tuesdays. Okay, it's an interesting fact. You know, you want to attend webinars so people get to know who you are. You might want to blog so you get out there. People get to hear what you're all about. You know, you show your opinion, etc. Put your foot, put your toe in the water. Get out there and meet people. Finding, the people of influence. Search for the bloggers, okay, or the journalists, or the podcasts, or the authors. They're out there, LinkedIn, and connect with them, okay? If you do follow a Wonk, that's an app with Twitter. You can find different people over there. Build a list of your networking targets, the people you want to meet, and search and try to get connected to them, okay? Subscribe to their newsletters. You're on their mailing list. You can get to talk to them. Comment on the blogs, the podcasts, articles, okay? You could be on Clubhouse or Lunch Club. Those are pretty active today, okay? And what you could also do is repost articles. And before you know it, when you start doing all this, people get to notice you, okay? I was just on a panel the other day. It was a taped summit panel on finding jobs in today's environment. And I think the summit was actually run today, but it was taped last week. Right? There was when we were talking, there were 600 people that signed up already for the summit. And in it had, it was myself and 3 other people were on this panel. And today I started getting people who were writing me, they wanted to connect with me already. So just by doing one panel, you'd be surprised how quickly people get to know who you are in today's environment. Video interviewing, today that's the main way companies interview. And in doing it, what you want to do, especially if you're going to do it at home, okay, where most people do it, you want to find a quiet and private place. Okay, if you have a separate room, that's great. On the other part of the house, but go there. Make sure there's good lighting for your interview. On your computer, you want to test your internet connection. You want to make sure you have a strong connection. You want to test the computer video and audio. Generally, when you get onto these meetings, right before you're admitted, they ask you to test your video and the audio. Okay. Check your background. Make sure your background's not cluttered. Some people use the virtual background. I'm not a promoter of that. I personally, when I have virtual backgrounds, you see when people started moving, there's like a blur in their head movement, etc. So I'm not big on that. I suggest you have just a regular background, but make sure it's not cluttered. Okay. If you have your laptop, put it up on a platform so that the camera is eye level. That's where I have right now. My laptop's on this shoebox. Okay, it puts it up to eye level. The camera's at the top of my laptop, so I can look into that. If your camera and some of the other laptops have the camera on the bottom, and then you're always looking down, which I'm not a big favorite of. In those cases, what I recommend you do, get a external camera or a webcam and use that and put that at the top of your laptop. It'd be better for you. Okay. Some people attach a smiley face to the back of their laptop that they're looking into, so they see themselves always smile. It really helps. Some people have a mirror on the side. Okay. What you want to do when you have these interviews, you want to test the app that they're going to use. Ask them. You know, we're accustomed right now to Zoom, but there are a whole bunch of other apps that are out there. You got Teams, you got a Google Plus, you got GoToMeeting, you got Skype. These video conferences, these platforms, they're basically the same. They generally do the same. It's just that the buttons are different. They're located differently. For instance, here on Zoom, generally the chat's on the bottom. If you go to meeting, okay, and you will trying to find the chat button, there is none. There's a bubble. If you click on the bubble, you could have a chat. But it's just a matter of knowing what the different apps are all about. So where the buttons are, that's what you want to do. But test them out. Ask about them, okay? If you're home, you know, close your door. Put up a sign, do not disturb. Let people know that you're going to have an interview, okay? Dress professionally, okay? But ask before the meeting, okay? If I wear a suit, is that considered overdressed for this type of interview? What's more appropriate? Ask these questions, all right? What you want to do is you want to have a pen and paper handy so you can write little notes when you do this, okay? You also, what you want to do is that have a cell phone near you. You know, have it on mute, but have it close, because if there are some technical problems and you have to contact somebody, you have a phone that's right near you. If you have a landline, turn it off. You don't want the phone ringing when you have an interview. And what you also want to do, any other apps that you have open on your computer, close them. It'll give you more throughput, and it will prevent, you know, pop-up screens coming up. So close your email app, close Outlook if that's what you have. Close anything else that's running in background. You want to have a strong signal, okay? And, you know, when I said up top, find a quiet and private place. Also, be cognizant of the time that you will have for the interview, because I had a client who was scheduled an interview. You know, he checked with his family, everything was going to be fine. Everybody was going to be quiet. They had animals, they're going to put them on another side of the house, et cetera, et cetera. The one thing that he didn't realize is that he had his landscaper come at the same time of his interview. And during his interview, the lawnmowers and the blowers kept on going. So you want to know what else is happening, okay? Okay. And you might want to test all this. Test it with a friend. Record yourself to see how you look. Okay, just check it out. And what you want to do is smile. Smiles really solve a lot of issues. Okay, it's friendly, it's welcoming. Smile. On the job boards, here's a whole bunch of places where you can find jobs. Okay, RyBob. Okay, Creative Live, Breathing Travel, Skill Crush, LinkedIn Jobs, Jobspresso, We Work Remotely, Remote OK, IO, Upwork, FlexJob, Indeed, The Muse. These are all different places where you can find jobs, okay? And what you can do, okay, you know, just looking at it, remember that, you know, although times have changed because of the pandemic, okay, things are different, but things are still the same, all right? Still the core four, as I call it, that you have to look at. You got networking, networking, networking. You have recruiters. you have social media, and you have direct mail. That's how you find jobs. Okay. And networking online today is really, really important. And when you look at it, the only difference between networking online and the regular networking physically is that you're using technology. I do not, it's very, very rare today that I make phone calls. I generally make video calls. This way I could see people, I could see their body language, and it's more personable. We're having just a meeting. So be aware of that as you go through. Okay. Set guidelines. Let people know you are working. If you're working from home, finding a job, you have a job. That's to find your next success. Okay. Make sure you select target companies. The more target companies you find, okay, you select, the more focused will be your job search and the shorter you will be in transition. You want to focus on those people of influence. They're the ones who will be able to help you. Okay. You want to have a really good, solid elevator pitch. It's a brand of you. That's what it's all about. And what happens, it's funny, but networking remotely requires that you get out there. Well, what does that mean? Well, you got to make your presence known on social media. Okay. So, make comments. Don't just like something. Work at it. Companies are still hiring, especially in today's environment because of the great resignation, so to speak. But bear in mind, companies are still being selective. Okay. Test your video for interviewing. Okay. If you haven't had your own Zoom, get your free version of Zoom and test it out. Learn how to use it. Okay. Check out the job sites. And what you want to do on different job sites, set the alerts so the information will come to you. So you don't have to spend hours on the net looking for jobs. Set the alert, have the jobs come to you. In the meantime, you do your networking with people online. Communicate with others. Okay. Get yourself a work search buddy, so to speak. Talk to that person maybe once a week. Have meetings as to how your progress is, how their progress is going. Come on, work together. Don't do this alone. If you need to hire a coach, hire a coach. It's very difficult when you try to do this by yourself. It's lonely. Okay. And then what happens when it's lonely? You have your worst enemy with you. It's that voice between your ears that will always tell you, don't do this, don't do that, you screwed up. Work with somebody who could really help you and help guide you and help you focus. Okay. And also what you want to do is do physical exercise. Okay. It's good for the brain. Okay. It keeps you in shape, helps you along. Okay. And what you want to do, you really want during this whole, situation, you want to stay focused and you want to stay organized. That's really important. You have a job, everybody. Stay healthy and stay safe. Okay. But you all have a job to do. And your job is to find that next success job. As I've said, being in transition today is your permanent job. Landing is only temporary. The good news is that everybody lands. The not so good news, generally in 2.5 years, you find yourself in transition again. So the things that you learn now, the skills that you learn now will be helpful when you search for your next position. ABC, always be connecting and connected. ABP, always be positive and be prepared. Opportunities happen at any time. And the two most important words to carry with you, not only when you're in search, but I think in life, are these two right here. It depends. In networking, there is no rules. Okay, no rules. This is all unique. Your actions really depend upon the circumstances that exist. So you have to think strategically all the time, and you have to be quick on your feet. There's no rules, and if someone says, you have to do it this way, well, why? Who says so? What's the rules? Your resume must be 2 pages. Where's that written? Who says that? Okay. No rules, anybody. So remember that. Okay. And I want to thank you for your time. Okay. You've been, very patient. Hopefully I've given you information that will be helpful to you. If you want to get in touch with me, here's where you can. The best is my cell number, 201-919-2607. This is my personal email address. This is my my company email address, and this is my LinkedIn URL. Okay. And with that, the question is, does anybody have any questions? I guess not.
It was good though. I appreciate it. I appreciate your the time.
Hopefully you
put in.
enjoyed it. Okay. As I say, I want to thank you all for what, listening to what we have to say. I'm here to help you. Okay. I've helped a lot of people. I've been in your position. I know what it's all about. You'll all find positions. It's just a question of when. Okay. That's what it's all about. It's how you prepare for it, how you search, how you work for it, but you'll land. There's no question about it. If you want a copy of the slide deck, just drop me a line. I'd be more than happy to. I run the Bergen chapter in addition to help leading the FENG. The Bergen chapter meetings are open to all people, all different chapters. Bergen runs, we have 2 meetings a month. It's generally the first Thursday evening of the month and the third Wednesday evening of the month. Right now, still everything is virtual. We're looking to, in the FENG group, go live with meetings possibly in January. So, why don't you sign up and join me in Bergen? See how it is up north. Okay. Visit us, see what it's all about. Okay. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Any questions?